Okay. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
we are on live. I am so happy to have my special guest today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Syeda here, Syeda Nuslia Nushra, founder of SY Management Consultancy. And I'm so glad that I'm today live with Miss Elizabeth, and it's a great opportunity for me. How are you doing, Miss Elizabeth?
I'm doing fantastic. I was looking forward since we talk about it. Going on live to have a business talk, and knowing that you have been in the line of marketing, so I'm excited to learn more about you. So tell us, where do you come from? Because people in Malaysia would be so excited and curious. Where do you come from? What are your background? Yeah, tell us more.
Basically, I'm from Pakistan, but I brought up in Saudi Arabia. And when I started my career, it was just a consultancy services which I used to give to women entrepreneurs, because I want to work for women entrepreneurs, and I want to help the small businesses. So I worked with more than 100 women entrepreneurs and provided consultancy services. And I'm passionately looking forward to build opportunities for entrepreneurs and firms to achieve their business goals. And I started my journey with the helping women entrepreneurs, and then I moved it to the marketing and advertising agency. And currently, we are running our marketing and advertising agency in Saudi Arabia. We are working with brands to promote through different digital marketing platforms, and some of our services are digital marketing, website development, influencer marketing, photography, AR and VR services. I can share with you all my screen, so maybe more easy for all of you to understand.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And this is about SY Management Consultancy. And this is the name of my agency. When I started my journey, because I started with the consultancy, and then I moved it to marketing and advertising. And if you talk about myself, I'm a Dean's Award MBA holder, pursuing my PhD. And with great business expertise and inspiring individual, started her journey with the aim to help women entrepreneurs. And currently, I am running here in Saudi. And SY Management Consultancy is a full flash marketing and advertising agency operating in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, and other regions of the Middle East as well. Our substantial services are business consultancies for small businesses, marketing, advertising, digital marketing, event management, and we have expansion to US, UK, and Canada as well. We are also dealing with some of the clients in Mauritius and Malaysia as well. And some of our services: digital marketing, website development, influencer marketing, which we are more focused on influencer marketing. We have influencers from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all social media platforms, those who have registered with us, and we are promoting many brands through social media platforms by influencer marketing, by providing them with influencer marketing services, photography, videography, event planning, AR and VR services. Also, we have a team with us. We have served some of our clients, and we believe in giving data-driven and growth-focused management solutions for business of all sizes and industries. It is a requirement to understand the market conditions and creatively plan its execution for client and provide best marketing solutions. We help clients to make target customers, and then we plan marketing strategies for them accordingly. And I'm so glad that today I am with Miss Elizabeth. So, um, so
Yeah,
I would
so
like to speak something regarding visual branding as well. That how visual branding is important for any businesses.
yeah, because
Uh, when
when
you're
I got to know
yeah,
you, Shida, when I got to know you, you know, I found out that you are really into marketing and all this, you know, like what you have highlighted to us, digital marketing, influencer marketing. And I love the topic of marketing. I love, you know, this area of business in marketing, because even in my industry as an image consultant, there's a huge part of marketing that we are talking about, even in image branding and image transformation. But first of all, let us greet our audience that is joining us today. So we have Jessie. Jessie is part of Elizabeth Image Branding team. She's also an image consultant. Hi, Jessie. And we have Angela. Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining us, Angela. She is also one of the speaker at eBiz Start. Yeah. So yeah, we have Angela with us. And Angela says, "Hi, Syeda. You trigger emotions, wonderful memories. I grew up in Pakistan, Karachi, Defense Housing Society, and it was called back then, my childhood years from age 2 to 14. So Angela also, you know, grew up in Pakistan. Yeah, and thank you, Ben. Ben is really my EIB raving fan, joining us for our live today. So thank you, our audience, for joining us during this period of time. Yeah, and you know, Syeda, we were kind of like brainstorming, you know, last night, like, okay, what should we discuss about today? You know, bringing two industry together, the marketing industry as well as image consulting industry, and I think we share a lot of things in common. Do you think so?
Yes, of course. Exactly. When you're building up your brand, including the development of your story, personality, core message, brand promise, and so on, you need to be sure including a strategy for visual components as well. No matter how great your business and messages, let's face it, what you need to do is you need to look upon the visuals. Visuals are usually the most effective way to capture your audience attention and build brand recognition. And this is what I think, that visual brand identity is very, very important for any businesses. And we both have many common interests.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So I got to know that you have some questions you want to ask from the perspective of image consultant. And what is that?
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you that most people think that logo is a brand. Okay, this is some of the question which I have been asked with from some of the businesses. So can you put some light on it, that do you think that a logo is a brand?
All right. Okay. So first of all, for those who are joining us, what do you think? Please, you know, comment on the comment box, chat box, and tell us, do you think logo in itself represent an organization brand? What do you think? Please feel free, because we also want to hear from our audience. But if you were to ask me, logo is a part of the whole, you know, it's just a part of the whole thing. Say, for example, a logo, it's like, say for example, image branding, your dressing. Okay, I often get this a lot. Is how a person dress up, the way he or she dress, is considered image branding. So is appearance and dressing and fashion and trends is image branding. So what I can say is that dressing or appearance is only a fraction of the whole person's persona or image. There's a lot of other aspects that we need to look into to come, you know, to package it as a wholesome, complete image. And in Elizabeth Image Branding, we cover the 5 levels of image. And you'll realize when I go through, you know, each of these levels, you'll realize that dressing is only a fraction of it. So for example, in image branding, the level 1 that we are dealing with is personal identity. So you cannot have a brand if you do not know what is the whole gist or the whole, you know, substance of the of the organization, the identity itself. You know, what is your core value? What is your calling? What is your talents and gifts, you know? So likewise in a company, when you're talking about a brand, it has to come back down to basic of the identity of the corporation, or the identity of the organization. Who are you? What are you offering? You know, what is your culture? What do you stand for? This say, for example, we have, say, you know, a Maxis or Starbucks. What is the whole organization stand for? That is the foundation of a brand. Then, you know, coming back to image branding, the level 2 is personal appearance, or, you know, personal appearance, yeah, presence. So then in level 2, we are talking about your dressing, how you carry yourself, yeah, the color that you use, the every aspect of the wardrobe that you use. Those are level 2. Understanding who you are will determine what you will wear. You see?
Exactly.
So it's the same with company. Understanding the whole essence of the company. Now we talk about how do we want to represent the whole company. Do we use a certain logo? Do we use a certain colors? Do we use a certain a design? You know, should it be square? Should it be round? All those are only the next level of the whole brand identity. So, you know, and coming back to image branding, the third level is social influence. Is when we talk about image branding, it's not just about who we are inside, outside. It's just not self-centered, but preparing yourself, equipping yourself to go out and be people-centric. So the level 3 comes about, it's called social influence. How do you influence people? How do you make a difference in your community and in the world? And then, of course, you know, the 4th level, we can't run away, especially post-COVID, you know, era. It's everything is digital. So when we're talking about branding, it's very crucial to also bear in mind your digital impression mastery. How do you appear on social media, on your Facebook, on your LinkedIn? You know, how do you present yourself? Not just how you look on your profile picture, but how do you sound? What is the tone of voice? See, how do you connect and engage with people with your content? And the highest level in image branding elements are emotional performance.
Exactly.
I'm sure you have met people who are so good in level 1, 2, 3, 4, even very impressive on social media, but the moment when you deal with them, they are not in control of their emotion. This very thing alone can collapse one's personal brand. So same thing, back to your question of an organization of a brand. The logo is only a fraction of the brand. There's a lot of elements running inside the whole brand. I hope that answers
Yeah.
your question.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would like to know more about your services, like more about yourself, Miss Elizabeth.
What we do in Elizabeth Image Branding, basically, okay, let's talk about EB Start, because both of us,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
you
we
know,
are promoting
we
here
are
for
part
you.
of EB Start. So I highly recommend that, you know, those who are watching our live, do check out ebstart.com. We are having a 2 weeks virtual business conference there. There's a lot of happenings inside there, a lot of master classes, business summit. You know, this whole thing has been brought about by Calvin and Andrew. They are the mastermind behind, but of course there are a whole team that is, you know, making this happen. So we really want to give a big shout out to EB Start. Do check out the website and also visit our booth. All right. So
Yes,
so what's happening in this EB Start with Elizabeth Image Branding, my company, is that we are offering unlimited e-learning platform. You see, I recognize, since, you know, COVID, businesses are suffering. But at the same time, there is a huge vacuum, a huge need for learning. So in the past, what we have been doing is that, you know, Elizabeth Image Branding, we do courses, trainings with one-to-one, as well as small group workshop or corporate training. But it won't work this way because people are very careful in spending, and also, how you use your resources is very important. So by recognizing this need, we realize that the learning need is there, but then the ability to spend has been, decreased tremendously. So Elizabeth Image Branding immediately came out with this solution, and we told our stakeholders and say, okay, why don't now we create this platform where you can learn unlimited, right? Pay a membership fees, and then you can attend all the image branding on all these 5 levels unlimited. So do check us out. And
Yes,
yeah, do check us out, because this is an amazing offer. When I shared this with Andrew, he couldn't believe it. He said, wow, all right. He said, wow. So yeah, and for those who are watching, do check out Elizabeth Image Branding as well. We have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and then you can find out more of this offer that we are offering on eBstart. Yeah.
exactly. I visited your e-booth, and when I saw your flyer, I was so much shocked that is it fine? Like this is just a small amount which you have mentioned, and you are giving so many of the services. So I think in this situation of COVID, the people, the business owners like Elizabeth and other those who are working for the people, they are doing amazing job. Seriously, this event eBiz is very. I can say that it's very close to me as well, because when I joined as a representative of Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries. So I'm promoting here at this event of eBiz, and it feels like it's something very special for me, and I'm really thankful to Mr. Calvin, Mr. Andrew, who organize everything. And also I am in touch in some of the coordinators of eBiz, Ms. Hademi. So, and all of the technical team, they are helping us in all of the aspects. Like whenever we need any help, we are contacting them. So this is one of the greatest platform for everyone, those who would like to join. And they are doing great, and you all can visit our e-booth as well, and you can see our live session again there in the e-booth as well. um, let's talk about something with marketing and visual branding.
Yes.
That Miss Elizabeth, how do you think that visual branding and marketing go hand in hand, right? So how would you summarize this for someone who is new to this concept?
Well, when we talk about marketing, it is all about selling, right? So when you talk about selling, it has to appeal, whether selling of an idea, selling of a services, selling of a product, it has to appeal to people in the first place before they decide to buy. Right? So I'm sure in marketing, you make sure that the appeal, the ability to appeal to your prospect or your client has to be first and foremost dealt with before you even discuss, okay, what are the specs, that we are providing, what are the benefits and stuff like that. So in marketing and visual branding is all about creating this, interest and curiosity and wanting to have what you are promoting. So visual branding, when you want to appeal to people, human beings are very visual beings, right? When we go for shopping, say grocery shoppings, what makes you buy one brand and the other? Let's say if you're walking down the laundry detergent aisle, company or
Appearance is
corporation
better.
spending billions and billions of dollars on packaging, on the design of the package, on the colors, on the fonts, what to write there, what are the pictures. So it has to appeal to people. Whether the product in itself is good, that is secondary, but first is appeal first, right? So I think you and I have experienced that before. I saw this cake that is so beautiful, and the packaging is so beautiful, the icing and the decoration is so beautiful, but when I bought it home, it tastes not as I expected. Okay, so but anyway, I bought it because it appeals to my eyes, and when anything that comes into your brain, through your visual, that it looks nice, you have this analysis inside your brains, automatically formulate that, to buy or not to buy. Does it look good? Does it not look good? How does the visual translate into whether it's delicious or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, as you see that as in the COVID situation, everything is online. So when you go for influencer marketing services, and if you go for digital marketing services, especially in social media marketing, you see that we need to influence our customers. So I think branding is one of the very important things which we need in today's time to influence the consumers. And I think it can without branding, the people just think that I feel like that people think that branding is just only designing, but as you explained that it's actually a complete you can say that it's a complete profile, and something, everything is included in that, a complete package for businesses. Okay, so I think people should understand this, the reality of branding in businesses, and many businesses are not working properly because I think so they are not growing because one of the reason is that their branding is not as good as it have to be.
Okay, let me read out Ben. I always love to find out what is Ben thinking when, he's listening to our live. Ben is saying that, pertaining to the logo question just now, Ben is saying, I think a logo is the foundation of your brand identity. It helps create memories, highlights your strength within a tight market competition, foster brand loyalty. Yes, definitely, you're right, and contributes to the relationship building process. Yes, basically, I also totally agree with Ben that a logo is like a bridge, that connects and glue the consumer with the organization. Say, for example, when I see M, immediately, it is a logo, McDonald's, the M, the red M, it is a logo, but the logo creates a certain memories, certain feel-good feeling and the connection with the organization. Same with Starbucks, right? When I'm say, for example, I have a tumbler here, but there's no logo, right? Versus if I have in my hand a logo that has a Starbucks logo, then perhaps it conveys a certain message that I am of a certain prestige lifestyle, that I drink no other coffee except Starbucks coffee, so it does convey a certain message as well. But I wouldn't, if you were to ask me as a branding expert, I wouldn't say a logo is the whole entity of a brand, because there are a lot of aspects that comes along with it as well. Yeah, so so that is my take on this. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Elizabeth, for answering in the detail, because from so many time I had this question in my mind, and I want to take answer from some brand strategist. Okay.
So maybe
But
I have a question to ask you. From
sure.
From the perspective of marketing. You are an expert in marketing. If I were to ask, how important is someone's whether a packaging, whether it can be a packaging or it can be how a person look, how is it important, or in what way it does affects decision making from the marketing point of view?
Yes, of course, it affects a lot, because if you talk about marketing from the marketing point of view, the advertising is very important in marketing. Actually, if you look for the marketing, it's a very broad term. It's just not advertising. You need to look upon many things in that. And when you speak about branding usually comes with the advertising. And advertising is one of the most important part of marketing. So when you look upon, as you mentioned, one of the example, right? So I will just continue with them. For example, when if any brand says buy one get one free, And when you make it, when you make it bold and with the wonderful colors, if you have a sale on any outlet and they mentioned that 20% sale with big banners and everything, so of course we will get more attracted to them, right? We'll say, oh, it's 20% off, we should go. And even some of the brands, it happens that they won't put much sale, but they reduce some of the prices, and they have mentioned that it's 60% sale, you have to come. So we will be more attracted. Oh, it's a sale going on. So I think so that advertising and branding both are very much aligned, and they, like, of course, if to create a good advertise, we should have a good branding. If to create if you want to grow your business, you should first understand about the branding as well. And I feel like, as a business owner, I feel like if you are not expert in all of the things, you should hire brand strategists for your branding. Like, because one person cannot be expert of all the aspects. Like, you cannot be an expert of an HRM, you cannot be expert of strategies, you cannot be an expert of, everyone have his own expertise. So being a marketing professional, I feel like, for a business owner, it's very important to hire someone who can guide you with your brand strategies, visual brand strategies, and then he or she can help you with helping you with achieving your goals, your business goals. So this is one of the very important thing which I believe that you should not think that no, I can do everything as a business owner, or as a business. Of course, we are running a company, and some of them are doing their online businesses and working as a freelancer as well. But in that time as well, they need someone to help them.
I totally agree. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So, while you were sharing about advertising, the importance, and how advertising and branding has hugely intertwined with each other, is it when a product or when a brand advertise, there's a lot of things happening behind the advertisement, like the choice of, earlier on I mentioned the choice of colors, the choice of presentation, how you want to phrase it out, content, how do you call for action and, attract people. I think in image branding is the same. It is, there's a lot of element in how you advertise your personal brand as well. Yeah, so I always see correlation between marketing of a product and marketing of your personal brand. A lot of similarities, yeah, that we can learn from.
Yes, of course. And also one thing which I want to add here, that we deals with ATL and BTL, both marketing, like above the line marketing and below the line marketing. So when we discuss about that as well, I think one of the most important part in both of the marketing strategies is that we need advertising, and advertising is one of the very most important. For advertising, we need branding, visual branding.
Yeah. So when you were doing, in your spheres of influence, in your advertising, what are some of the elements that you deem crucial or important, and can you share that with our audience today? What are some of the key important points in advertising in aspect of visual psychology of visual branding?
Okay, currently we are working with digital marketing services. We are providing digital marketing services. So our main focus is on social media marketing, and as well as influencer marketing services. So when you talk about, because it's a funnel, if you will talk about the digital marketing, many aspects are involved: SEO, content marketing, email marketing, social media marketing, many things are involved in that. So if you speak about social media marketing, we study according to our consumer perspective, that what is the need of a consumer, how the consumer will see this flyer. Okay, if we are preparing something for the consumer, that how it will go to his mind, how he will react to it. Either the consumer will purchase, either our advertisement is so appealing to him. What are the things which we can include in our branding kits? You can say that the branding kits which are provided to us by our the designers. So so how we can categorize it, then we give suggestions to our designers to create according to consumer perspective, that we have this client and he or she needs let's suppose they need services of they are expecting us to promote their traveling brands, okay, like travel agency brands. They want to have some travel packages, and they ask us to promote on different social media platforms. Okay, so how we deal it, we first look upon the consumer perspective, that who will be our target customer. Our target customer will be the people who are more like to travel, and we will look upon the travel vloggers, bloggers, influencers, and then we create our flyers and the packages according to our consumer perspective, and we give them, we ask the you can say the travel vloggers to promote on their social media pages, and then we look upon that how we can attract the consumers from them. So basically we study our target market, and then we attract our customers accordingly.
But from the aspect of visual, because today's topic, we are talking about visual branding and the psychology behind it. What are some of the points that you can share with us when preparing an advertisement? What are some of the elements, important elements to take note of in terms of the visual branding that will either convince people to buy, or fail in closing the sale? So what are these visual branding that we should take?
Mostly what we expect, what we do is we put some of the packages like special offer, or some of the promo codes like this, that to attract our consumers. Colors are very important, because you can see that if the bright colors and it depends on the brand, it depends upon the you can say that it depends upon the customer as well, the client as well, that which type of brands, which type of colors they are needing. But mostly in the advertisement, the bright colors are more attractive. So colors are very important, and
I want to stop you there about colors, because I love colors. In Elizabeth Image Branding, we deal a lot about the psychology of colors, you see. So when we talk about psychology of colors, what are, in your experience as a marketer, what are some of the colors that can, spurs people to buy, to close, because we know that colors is alive, colors has psychology, colors has emotion, right? So especially in marketing, what are some of the colors that you would advise us to use, especially on our social media, when we are, designing our poster flyers and stuff like that, that has the psychology of making people, emotionally and also mentally wanting to buy your services or products?
I think it depends, because some of the corporate clients, if you speak about the corporate clients, they want some peaceful colors, you can say, right, black and white and like this. But if you are advertising or you are promoting some the FMCG products, then you might need some bright colors for them. Then if you go for the kids products, there will be a different category. So I think it depends on the it depends upon the category which you are which we have for our businesses. According to that, I can give you, but mostly people are more familiar with the bright colors, I can say.
Because bright colors attracts attention, and you say
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
also using high contrast, I believe, because in image consulting, we do cover this one topic about how to use high contrast colors and how to use low contrast colors according to the situation and also the goal that you want to achieve for the day. Say for example, it's very interesting. Say for example, in dressing. Today what I'm wearing is a high contrast, so it's a black and then contrast it with white, so you can see that a very high contrast. And wearing high contrast, even my glasses with my skin is very high contrast, and that attracts attention and also retain people's engagement as well, because you can you can, you know, sustain the attention of your audience. So, but there are certain times, say, for example, networking, where, you know, you need to appear more friendly and approachable than what using high contrast, because high contrast colors like this may give the impression or the, you know, impression, I use the right word, that you are more authoritative and, you know, outstanding. So sometimes it can appear as intimidating as well. So, you know, we do teach this, when to use high contrast and when to use low contrast colors. Like today, what you're wearing, you know, is low contrast, you see. So
Yes,
it
yes.
appears really friendly and sweet and soft, and that is, you know, that is the brand that I have, you know, in me of your first impression. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
nice.
I think in advertising is also the same. The using of colors will create a first impression in your consumer,
Exactly.
your customer's mind. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And I think so. I should go for your services as well. Uh, I just want to ask you something, that when it comes to selling fashion products, why do you think that storytelling is important with that? Because for being as a marketing, for me, that if we speak about the fashion products, storytelling is very important. So from the point of view of a brand strategist, what do you think about it?
I think not just fashion product, any product and services, you must have a story behind the whole organization. The story basically determines or tells people why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is a very powerful tool in itself. But you know, one advice is that be always authentic. Don't just simply because of the need of, you know, storytelling in your brand, you created a non-authentic story. Don't do that. Always go back deep in your, you know, in your heart. Why do you started your business? What is that? Say, for
Exactly.
example, you know, in Elizabeth Image Branding, we always have this story that, you know, I think yesterday I was sharing my radio talk show on, you know, how I was sharing with this uh, 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 radio talk show in Australia about how I left my hometown and came to Penang, in Penang Island in Malaysia. It was because of, you know, I was living in a very abusive foster home. So now I'm going into storytelling. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, personally, I grew up in a very abusive foster home. Literally, you know, get beaten every day, and the beating is very bad. So, and at the age of 19, I had one severe bad beating that, you know, rendered me kind of like loss of consciousness, and that spurs me to think. You know, I actually woke up in the middle of the night and I asked myself, after the beating, I asked myself, Liz, what do you want to do? You have two choices. You stay here, and basically, this is what your life will be, you know, or you leave and see what future has in store for you. So basically, I ran away from the foster home and I came to Penang Island and I started my life anew. And but because of the growing up with the beating and the verbal abuse, I suffer with severe uh, um, self-esteem issues. You know, I never see myself as worth the opportunity given, you know, in my work, or I never see myself as someone who is worth it, that is enough. And throughout my adulthood, I actually struggles a lot. I struggle with self-image and self-worth. And what spurs me to start Elizabeth Image Branding is that because of the journey that I went through, I have went through a transformation of finding who I am, my real identity, right? Who I am created to be, and what is the kind of like superpower in me that I can help people with. That led me to start Elizabeth Image Branding to champion the lies that people used to tell us when we were young. And very often, you know, those things that we were told when we were young really affect our whole adulthood
exactly.
if we don't address the issues. You see, depression, you know, certain dysfunctions, you know, in a family, is all because of how we grow up in the past. And I told myself, I said, if me, having gone through all that, I can be who I am today, I'm sure everyone, that I meet can be someone powerful and someone bold and courageous. So I started Elizabeth Image Branding, not so much of changing your appearance, but really changing who you are, the identity inside. But of course, I teach it with the outside as well, because I always believe when you find the true value of who you are, you will not lack in how you dress up, because every day when you look at yourself, you are worth looking good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think you mentioned in the starting as well that your fifth pillar of Elizabeth is that emotional connection.
correct. Yeah. So you see, if over the years, I have built myself level 1, 2, 3, 4. But there were times I realized I still struggle with emotional performance, because I allow, you see, this is also part of image, because it reflects who you are on the whole. I allow this limiting belief or these lies that keep telling me, when I was told when I was young, that, you know what, Liz, I don't think you deserve to do amazing things. I don't think you're good enough to even take that job, to take that project and stuff like that. So I realized, hey, level 1, 2, 3, 4, even though is really important in image branding, but I need to include the final element, that is emotional performance. How well can you manage yourself from the aspect of emotion?
Exactly.
How would you react when disappointment, when there are betrayal, when there are self-limiting voices that tells you, or when things are not going along your way? Can your level 1 identity, your appearance, your social influence, as well as your digital visual brand still become strong? Because you will realize, I think you and me have seen famous people come on social media and without wisdom, saying things that eventually they will regret.
Yes.
You see? So it is
Exactly.
very important to look into all these 5 elements, because at any point of the time, when any of these pillars are not strong, it's like a building, it will collapse in just seconds.
Exactly. So true.
So I
Thank
hope
you
I
so
hope that
much.
explain answer to your question about
Mhm.
storytelling. It's just not about a certain product or brand, but every not just fashion, sorry, but every product,
Mm.
every brand, you must have a story behind it, so that you can engage and reach out to the deepest part of of the heart, yeah, of your client.
Exactly. When I just tell about my experience that I was working with my graphic designer. So she was working on my logo that time. So my main target was that to help businesses achieve their goals. So she designed in this way that it looks like that you can see the logo that the goal is there, and it's how to achieve that goals, to help the people, the strategic goals and everything, the business goals. So it's like sometimes I feel like, even for your my first question which I ask about the logo as well. So your emotions are very attached to everything. So even if your logo, if your advertisement, if you talk about flyers for your business, if you talk about anything which is related to your business, to showcase yourself as a personality, or as any products, emotions are intentionally involved in it. Like you whenever you present, let's suppose if we talk about social media, you are not presenting yourself. If I am a business, I will not present myself. I am presenting my business, my visual, through my visuals, like whatever I am uploading on the social media platforms. So it should be connected in such a way to my clients, to my target audience, that it will go to their mind, it will study their mind, it will attract to their mind. As you mentioned that there should be a storytelling which can go in their you can say that right, which can attract them.
Yeah.
So I think today's topic is very interested, and on which we have a detailed discussion, and I'm so blessed to have a discussion with you.
Thank you so much. I think because time is coming up soon, so
Yes.
yeah, if there's any question, we welcome you to ask on the chat group. If not, we will, close it with this final thing that is, visual branding is really, really important. I think after the conclusion of the discussion, we can come to a conclusion that, visual branding is very important. But what you need to understand is the psychology behind of the visual, how to decide what kind of visual, what kind of colors, how do you present, whether it's in the logo, in the packaging, in the fonts, a lot of all these aspects. Even, how you appear on Zoom as well is also a visual branding as well, because all these are recorded and shared, and, a lot of elements will basically goes into people's mind, and they will formulate the first impression of you through what they see and what they hear of you online. So do organizations spend billions of dollars into every of these nitty-gritty details of their visual. I hope all of you also will take time and effort to look into your personal visual branding as well. So this is what I have to leave to the audience today. And is there anything from you for the audience?
Yeah, I just want to add something that I'm thankful for everyone and thankful Miss Elizabeth. And if anyone have any questions, they can ask me. And also that I will be looking upon your services, which is I'm very excited about. And do visit our e-booth, okay? And this is what I want to end up that if you talk about any business visual, from our talk as well, we came to a conclusion that visual branding is very important in terms of strong brand identity can make or break a business. So this is what I want to say, is that brand identity is very important for any business. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
So it's truly an honor to share the platform with you. So ladies and gentlemen, we have with us here is Syeda Nuslia from SY Management Consultancy at Saudi Arabia, and she is the managing director. And her forte is into digital marketing, influential marketing. So do check her out at EB Start. To engage and find out, just do a discovery session with her and see, even I think Nushra, you have shared also how, with organization and entrepreneurs, how to break into Middle East market. Yeah. So I think for anyone who is here, have the intention and desire to bring your business and services into the Middle East, and please, check out her booth, and then, you can ask for advices as well. So I'm definitely going to connect with you and see how, image branding business can, bring into Saudi Arabia as well. So once again, thank you, everyone. And hope to see all of you soon.
If anyone wants to contact me, that how we can promote their business in Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries, so they can message me, and we will be sharing our information as well. And you can visit our e-booth. My e-booth number is 108 in eBiz. So do visit, and let's have a discussion as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth. Bye-bye.
Thank you.